Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. Do you realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world? Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
Alright, this is VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Night. And I've got Richard, VK7ZBX, in the studio. Hello, Richard.
Good day, good day.
How you going?
Ah, fantastic. I'm on leave. I'm fantastic.
Can't you tell? Actually, you're not in high vis.
So, no.
He's in civvies.
Yeah, low vis.
So
I'm not here.
Right, okay. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
What I thought we would just kick off with tonight is one of the things, and if I go to that one there and pull this across here, we look at that. Now I didn't realise actually when we did the ISS SSTV segment last week, and we received on the iPhone those pictures, which I then posted, and there's a little video I posted, a separate little video in the video section of the Reast YouTube channel. The two pictures that we received at about 9:30 that night, there was a fantastic pass which was about 82 degrees or something, and we managed to get two pretty decent pictures out of that using the iPhone, sitting on top, acoustically coupled, and sitting on top of the FT817. Fantastic. So we videoed that, and I made that into a little video, and I included the images that we actually
they work really well.
received. So that was really good. But I didn't actually realise that. I went home thinking, the next pass is not a bad pass as well.
Oh, and there was nothing on.
It was finished. It was finished.
Because it finished at like 1100 UTC or whatever. Yeah.
And so it was only for 2 days.
Yeah.
2 UTC days. And so I sort of went, okay. I'm glad we did that when we did it.
It's funny, I did the same thing because I went home and made sure that the pass times converged because I had a few issues with my caps.
Yep.
I went, oh yeah, there's another pass tonight. So I actually went and made another coffee and went back upstairs, sat there doing some stuff, and it's like, you know,
absolutely nothing.
sat PC came and said, satellite, ISS rising. I went, oh, sweet.
Nothing. Silence.
That was a bit disheartening.
I did the same thing, and then I went across to the article that was posted. And I went, that will be why they've stopped. So anyway, this is the page where you can upload the images, and they take the best of the images. Now, I thought this was very pertinent because we actually I got one of those. We actually got one of these. This was one of the images that we actually captured, and this was actually another image of the Japanese astronaut that we captured as well. So these two, and I think it was probably those last passes, because this hasn't updated for a long while. So everyone's uploaded their images. They only, on this front page, they only put the really good images.
Some of them are very good, aren't they?
Oh, they must have your arrangement with, multiple Yagis and tracking and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah, but sometimes if the timing's bad...
Yeah. It's a bit like the 10 gig thing. Everything's
so many moving parts.
Correct.
All have to
Way too many moving parts. So I just thought I'd show this because this actually shows the first couple of images. That's one of 12, and that's Gagarin. So that's celebrating Cosmonaut Day. And that was the Russian lady, and I got one of those, so that was really good. And in the same in that same series of passes, I think that's 2 of 12, and then there was 3 of 12. So that was the Canadian lady with the maple leaf in the background. I got absolutely none of the US astronauts, women astronauts. I got the Indian one, the Indian lady. I got the English lady. Where's some others? There's
the Iranian lady?
Italian
lady? No.
There's the Italian lady. And then there is the Iranian lady. Where is she? It might be a rare find. Come on, they've got to be here somewhere. Oh, there we go. There we go. There she is there. That's the Iranian-born astronaut. And I think that's about it. So the only ones I didn't get were the Americans for a really strange reason.
It wasn't on very long. There's not many passes, and I feel very sad that the first night it was on, it started at like 1800 UTC, which was quite early. So I left my system on, and I must have had a sort of fat fingers or whatever, and I put the caps in, and I got nothing.
Yeah. Okay. No, we'll call you in, Rex. We'll call you in, Rex. That's probably the easiest.
What's that big radio we've got? 97 100?
9700.
9700.
What?
9700.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a lot of excitement in the club rooms right at the moment around the SDR console. Software that's just been released, which Hayden VK7HH on the Ham Radio DX mailing YouTube channel did a fantastic about 25-minute video, so a long video on the SDR console software. So there's we set it up just a moment ago and showed a few people, and I had to wipe the drool off the iPad.
Nice.
So. That's the ISS, the SSTV from the ISS, the Women in Space. Whoops, that's a bit loud from our sponsor. So what I thought I would do is just run through, and Richard, so we've got a bit of a cheat sheet here, so that I don't miss anything. So I thought about how can you do SSTV. And I think we demonstrated there's the acoustically coupled version, which is where you actually hold your iPhone or your iPad up to the speaker of a receiver, a suitable receiver, and then you can receive it. on the iPhone, there is the Black Cat Systems was the software that I was using. It's about, I think, just the SSTV app is around $2.99. You can get a $6.99
hack, which is
which has got PSK.
Black Cat
and
Systems do some really cool stuff.
Well and truly. So that was the software I was using on the iPhone. There is some other iOS software that's available for SSTV. On the Android platform, there is quite a number, and I've written down here SSTV Encoder. There's Droid SSTV. There's Robot36 SSTV, and there is more.
Okay, right.
There's a whole bucket load of them. I have absolutely no experience with Android SSTV, so. But they're available, and this is the acoustically coupled version of SSTV.
It does have limitations.
Well and truly. And I just put in here, it is susceptible to noise and external influence. So really, if you don't have a good seal between your microphone and your speaker, it can be susceptible to environmental noise and all sorts of stuff. So the other way you can do it is obviously to connect your radio and your computer together. Variety of ways of doing it. There is the analog method, which is connecting to the sound card in your computer. With it's good to have a little bit of isolation, a little isolation transformer or something like that. And then you connect up to your radio into the microphone socket for transmit, and the speaker socket or data output or whatever is available on your radio. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is probably the digital way of doing it. So you digitize much earlier.
So the sound card's in your radio.
Well and truly, either in your radio, or you've got a little sound card converter, like a USB
thing.
Well and truly, like the DigiRig that we showed a couple of times on here, and that's the way I do it. The 847 and the 817, I use a DigiRig USB interface. What that does is, the advantage of that method is the USB sound card is in the DigiRig interface, and also the CAT control is in the DigiRig interface.
Oh, okay.
So you've got one USB cable that goes from your computer to your DigiRig interface, and then you've got a couple of cables that go for data in and data out for your audio. But then you've got your CAT control, however you do that. It can be through USB, it can be through RS-232, it can be through anything. So there's a couple of ways of doing that. There are a number of radios, and I've just listed here the IC705, the 7300, the 9700, the 6710? No.
7610.
7610. Dyslexic. Sorry about that. The 7610 all have USB interfaces, but they also are available for connection to the network, so you can...
But like the 847, like yours and my 736, you just use analog,
that's all. It's RS-232.
Yep.
And in fact, the 847 is
actually RS-232.
Is actually RS-232 and is straight through RS-232. Or it's... No, you need a null modem cable, so you need to swap the transmit and the receive. But, so whole range of... and what it does is that enables you to cut down any sort of external interference. It's only hearing what's coming through the radio, and it is just a much better way of doing it. That's probably the best.
Also tailor the audio response too.
Well and truly,
so.
and turn off all of that stuff that filters all the stuff you actually want to hear. So on Windows, MMSSTV I think's the most popular. And reasonably easy to use. It's got it's got some quirks. It's got some quirks with the templates and how to use pictures. And I have to admit, the picture side of it is probably a bit clunky. It could be a little bit easier to use.
Once you get it in your head of how it works.
Correct. Okay, you've got to load it in, then you've got to use it, and all of this sort of stuff. But it works wonderfully. There is MixW, there is SSTV, weather, fax, etc. And there's now EasyPAL is another one, and JBComms was another one, and there are a whole lot of others. Yep. I'll point out EasyPAL because EasyPAL supports not only the analog SSTV versions, but it also supports the digital SSTV. So the Digital Radio Mondial and all sorts of other encoding methods, which are all digital. And I think that's worth a bit of a play when we do the SSTV stuff.
Sure. Yep.
Because the quality of the image that you can get is pretty impressive. On Linux, there are a whole lot available. The one that I have experience with is QSSTV. It's available if you use the Ubuntu Linux version. It's available in the library, so you can just download it. But it's also that, and there's quite a few others that are available. QSSTV is probably most like MMSSTV in the way that it works and the user interface. MacOS, there are again a whole lot available. The one that I've had a little bit of experience with is MultiScan 3B. And it's not 3D, it's 3B. But MultiScan, very similar to MMSSTV. I didn't spell that right. That's why I'm struggling with it. But the MultiScan, very similar arrangement. A little bit better in the picture area. I actually quite like that on the Mac. But anyway, now, and there's a whole range. DigiRig was one of the USB interfaces that is available, and we've done a little bit of work with Dennis and supplied. We were one of the first ones to confirm the FT817 cables and all of that sort of stuff. So the 847, his later versions support the 847 being plugged directly in, so it does support the RS232 voltages. There is the SignalRig interface, which is another one, and there are just USB
it's like the
sound
old
cards.
days when you were probably a little bit loose and whatever, and you just plug your speaker input straight into the sound card and just pad it up, and
it works.
And it works.
And it works. That's akin to sort of electrical acoustic coupling, really.
It's probably not ideal, but
So whole range of options. You can certainly use a handheld, especially with. And in fact, I thought about this afterwards. We probably should have used a handheld and the iPhone with the handheld antenna to do the pass, because it was so good.
yeah, we could have actually even rotated to
Well and truly.
match them.
And so we could just bear with me, because I just had my phone go off. No, I'm on call right at the moment, so I just have to look at my phone. But you can also these connectors, standard size connectors, a 3.5 and a 2.5. These are on a lot of rigs. The T90 has exactly the same arrangement. And can I just say, I've used this particular speaker microphone, on the IC705 when I forgot my microphone for one of our training sessions, and I went, oh, I didn't bring the microphone. And I came in here and took it out of the Alinco, and it worked perfectly. So, big sigh of relief that day. But you can connect into here via your USB sound card or whatever you're using to connect.
Resistor splitter to do the push to talk.
Well and truly. So, what I'm trying to get across here is it's relatively easy to get things.
It's pretty resilient. You don't have to have everything. It's perfect.
No.
Like obviously, if you can eliminate acoustic coupling, then you're going to be significantly better off.
Yeah. And also, one thing I've noticed with the acoustic coupling is if your audio levels are not right, so you're either overdriving it or underdriving it, your picture will suffer.
Yeah.
Well and truly, you won't get a good crisp picture. And it's susceptible to all the external noise as well, as we found out the other day with hearing Harry talking to Zave. But okay, there are some standard SSTV frequencies that are sort of the default standards. 40 metres, 7.033, and I think there's another one
7171, isn't it?
7171.
Yep.
A bit further up the band. 14230, which Steve well and truly knows about, Steve OO, because he runs a webcam on that listens on 14230.
Yep.
21340, 28680, and 144450. So there's a simplex frequency for us if we want to use a simplex frequency.
It has been heard on 146.
Yeah. Now, SSTV modes, they can also be a little bit confusing. These days, most of the applications... and good evening to Chris, VK7CDW. So hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
Down at Oyster Cove. So now, most of the SSTV applications will auto-detect what mode is being received.
Yep.
So that's really nice. There are a huge number of modes, page of them, from right down at the really low res. There's a black and white 8. Now, black and white 8 means it takes 8 seconds, and I think that's 8 lines, or something. Really, really low resolution.
That's a fly back to the old slow phosphor days.
Well and truly. But you get a signal through in 8 seconds. And you can reply in 8 seconds, and you can, really... The Robot 24 was another one. That was one of the ones we were using the other night.
Yep.
Really quick, all the way up to... There are some really high-res modes. P7, ML320. Now, 320 is 320 seconds to put through a complete picture.
Wow.
But you get high-resolution pictures.
Also, too, you run the risk that if you're on a dodgy path, that you've got a higher chance of
noise
sort of messing it up.
Well and truly. And the other thing is, being a digital mode, that's 320 seconds that your transmitter is transmitting for, and it is being hit pretty hard.
100% duty cycle.
Correct. So you've just got to, and especially if you're on a handheld with batteries or whatever else, it can run your batteries down fairly quickly. So that's another thing you've got to...
They used to always say to derate, like your FM, your HF...
Like you do with
radio,
AM.
yeah.
Like you do with
Turn
AM.
it back to like 50%.
So, now, Analogue and Digital, I mentioned EasyPAL. That can a whole lot of different digital modes. One of them, which is very popular, and I understand there is a group in Melbourne who run SSTV, digital SSTV, using the Digital Radio Mondial standard.
Wow.
And transfer all sorts of things. There's JMSK, there's KG-STV. These are all digital SSTV applications. So, and I just make a point here. It is worth making sure that your audio levels, both in and out, are right.
Yep.
And MMSSTV has a really nice little level meter that changes colour. So if it's not green, it's probably not optimal. And if it's red, it's definitely not optimal.
It's a bit hot.
So there's some really good little tools available to enable that. So that's SSTV, and we are looking at coming up with regular SSTV nights that people can participate in. So yeah, watch this space. So that's SSTV, and I hope people go away and put into Google SSTV applications for Windows or something.
Probably something worth mentioning too is that you can cheat a little bit when you're first testing with SSTV, and you can basically just set the input and output to a sound card or to a microphone, and you can play them through your speakers or through your headphones.
Yep. And
adjust levels and just actually work out what it sounds like, and you can even record some stuff and do some tests.
And can I say, Steve OO, who did our SSTV presentation at the Open Day, was running it through an opto coupler. So he had an LED and a photodiode, which is basically the transmitter and the receiver, and he was sending it from one machine to another via optical coupling. So, and you could prove that because if you put your hand in front of it, it'll stop. So I thought that was pretty tricky.
It is.
That was pretty tricky. I like that. and optical isolation, so optical coupling, I suppose that was.
But just sometimes, yeah, it's just nice to be able to actually hear that it's going out, because in this day and age, many of us have got different radios that have got different sound cards and different devices and
Well and truly.
headsets and all sorts of things. It's like, oh, how come I'm not hearing anything? Oh, now it's coming out.
How am I? Yeah. You instantly go to the audio mixer and go, oh, that's why.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, all right. What we might do is get Rex in. Rex.
Wave to Rex. Come on in, Rex.
Come on down, Rex.
Okay.
Woohoo! Woohoo! Now, here we go. Here we go. Now,
Welcome,
if I move this way, welcome Rex, VK7MO,
Justin.
microwave experimenter extraordinaire.
Oh.
Now, the reason I'm getting Rex and Richard in the frame is this arrived in the postbox a number of days ago, which is, it's the 50th year of DUBUS. This is number one for quarter one of 2022. Very interesting petal dish design in this particular edition. But the key thing is.
One of them, in fact, 3 metres in diameter. It's quite.
There happens to be an article in here that jumped out at me. Hang on, I should have had it marked, shouldn't I? That's not Australia. That's not the Hepburn chart for Australia. That is, though.
Yeah.
And there is a VK7 to ZL opening on 10 gigs and some thoughts on ducting propagation. So I think Rex gave us a bit of a talk on a prelude for this a few weeks ago.
I did, but I've forgotten.
Oh, okay. So I've got two of the three authors in the studio.
You did. Yeah.
So this was back in January of 2022, and you can see that there was this. Actually, if I zoom in, that's probably a decent thing to do, because then you'll be able to see the actual line. There's a very nice little line here that goes from Tasmania, southern Tasmania, all the way across this nice duct here to Roger.
Yes.
ZL3
RC.
RC over here in New Zealand, the South Island of New Zealand. So take us through a little bit of the preparation, and I think this particular chart here.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
there's some fascinating.
Yeah. We sort of planned this on the basis that Roger has to travel from Christchurch right across to
the other side of New Zealand.
And there's about 4 hours, or at least, and it looked promising, and I think once I started detecting signals, I told Richard, who went up the mountain.
Might have had your gear packed in the car.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
In a true scout style, yeah.
The interesting thing was Richard had a smaller dish than me, 60 centimetres against 77.
Yep.
And he got signals that were about 9 dB stronger.
Okay.
And the path, he was almost beaming right over my head.
Yep. Okay.
So the really only difference in the path was the height.
Okay.
And there is a little duct in the high resolution radio sun data at about my height.
Which is there.
Yep.
And
And
then
another little one at about the height that Richard was working.
and then
And a really strong one up higher. Now, we sort of, at the time, thought maybe it's these little ducts that are providing the propagation, and that's what we said in this article.
Yep. Yep.
I'm less convinced now.
Okay.
I think, in fact, it was the high level duct that was producing the propagation, and the reason is these ducts vary enormously in height, particularly the small ones, from one radiosonde measurement to another. I can't imagine them staying exactly at 320 metres and 600 metres for any period.
Okay.
And then you've also got to think, how do they couple into a duct that gets all the way from New Zealand if they're only this small? So I'm still thinking that it's the big duct. And of course, the further out you beam, the better chances you've...
This is this coupling efficiency you're talking about?
Well, yes, because typically you can't enter a duct at more than about half a degree.
Yeah, okay.
It depends on the strength of the duct. And Richard would have been able to enter at half a degree because he was sufficiently high up that he could probably see that right on the horizon.
Yep.
I doubt that I was able to do that because...
You're at 300 and the duct was up here at like 1100,
now,
1200.
Would have been really nice to have gone to the top, wouldn't it?
it would have been, yes. I mean, there's so many interesting things to learn about this ducting.
Because actually, if you were at the top, you would have, if this
Just
is
been
accurate,
right in it, wouldn't we?
you would have just been right in it, or actually just above it. Like,
yeah, that's right. Now, I think you have to...
1230 metres, that one, I think.
Yeah. And I think you have to say these ducts vary a lot over quite short periods. I mean, we only get radiosonde measurements every 12 hours, and they're usually significantly different. So I think if we'd have been at the top for a reasonable period, there would have been much stronger signals.
yeah.
And basically I'm relying on being in the duct to make the Hawaii exercise work. On the basis that I'll move over a range of heights
To get the optimum one.
and have a number of stations at the California end at different heights,
Okay.
some of whom can move.
Yep.
And I hope we'll learn a lot more about ducting.
So, what sort of height will you be at in Hawaii? Are you hoping to be at? To sort
Well,
of
based
start
on the
with?
radiosonde data, the optimum height will be somewhere between 1,400 and 2,000 metres.
And you can get to that level.
You can certainly get to that level. The question is, can you get a good takeoff?
Like on the side of a road hanging over a cliff. Yeah.
Well, that's what we really need. But the trouble is, the road gives you the impression that anywhere on the road on Street View you can see right out. But California isn't lined up with the road.
Right.
And there's a lot of trees on the side, and at 10 gigs you can't get...
Can't have a tree.
You can't have a tree in the way, and you can't get a dish up very high.
Yeah. Yeah.
So finding spots is quite difficult. I've found probably 3 spots that I can use in that sort of range.
Okay.
And I really won't know until I get there. Just how useful they are.
And is it close to somewhere that actually has people living, or is it out in the bush, or?
It's really all national park. It's
right.
It's the Volcano National Park.
Hawaii, really?
Well, this island of Hawaii.
Yeah. Okay.
It's called the Big Island.
Yep.
It's the one that has
The active volcano on it.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay.
And now a lot of areas there's lava flows.
Yep.
But even lava flows have a lot of variability in their height.
Yep.
And the biggest problem is just the first 100 metres. Getting the dish high enough to get over anything that's
in the way
in the first 100 metres.
Okay.
There's two things. If you're going to actually, so you can get an efficient entry to the duct only within plus or minus half a degree.
Yep.
So, but if you can't see it down to a half a degree, you clearly can't get into that half a degree. So that affects the coupling into the duct.
Yep.
Admittedly, if you've got level, right level, it's only costing you 3 dB. Half the energy is going into the ground.
Yep.
However, for the smaller ducts, you need less than 0.1 of a degree to get into them, and if you're right on level, you're almost on the boundary where you're not even going to see them.
Yeah. Not be able to get into them.
So the biggest problem is going to be to find locations, and it's only small amounts that you need. You know, just moving the dish at the moment. The bottom of the dish is, because of the limits of the tripod, is at about 1.4 metres.
Right.
And while you can perhaps extend it higher, you've also got to then have some sort of little mount to get up and look through
a ladder or something. Yes. Yeah.
And this is all on rough,
on unknown terrain. On unknown terrain.
So
okay.
There's no simple way of doing this.
Okay.
But I still feel fairly confident that we'll find a way.
Yep.
But I just don't know the answer at the moment.
Okay. And you're fairly confident about the people that you've identified at the other end. Now you've done the talk.
Yeah. We've probably got 5 stations who've indicated an interest.
Okay.
And
fantastic.
Some of them look very promising.
Okay. Cool.
So.
Cool.
That's
exciting.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good thing about this diagram, this diagram represents what you can get to look at ducts with high resolution radiosonde data. And it's only been available for probably the last 4 or 5 years.
Yep.
And it gives you a resolution of about 6 metres, which tells you a lot about where the ducts are.
Which potentially gives you a resolution of a duct of 6 metres.
Yes.
Potentially, because I did notice there's one little one right here as well.
Yeah.
There's one little one right there, just below where Richard was.
Yes.
One there.
Yeah.
So
now, I have to say, I'm a little bit cautious about some of those really tiny ones. It might be the resolution of the data.
Okay.
Is causing them.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, and when does all this? When are you working on all this happening, Rex?
I leave on the 14th of June, and
he's not allowed to come back until he's done it.
Yeah. And
broke the record, Rex? No, you can't come back.
No. Yeah, not allowed back in the States.
And I plan to be over there up until the end of July.
Okay.
And even if I make a contact early on, I will stay for the full period and get as much data as I can.
Well and truly.
So I can understand.
For the Gibbs Tech talk.
Yes. When is Gibbs Tech?
Good question, but I assume it's back. It's probably that's a good point.
If
it's in July. You're going to be in.
No, I won't be here.
Another Zoom presentation.
Okay. I haven't heard, but I was assuming that it's probably back to where it should be, which is July.
Which would surprise me that hasn't been advertised. If that's
correct.
The case. So maybe it's still going to be in November where they sort of...
Maybe they permanently moved it. Okay.
Oh, well...
Well, if well, that works in your favour, because then you can present your results.
Yes.
And we can find out more about these, whether it is a number of ducts or it's one big duct or...
There's so many variables that it's going to be very hard to untangle all this stuff.
But this is new data. This is new data. So, which is that's the exciting bit.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So,
Hopefully you can gather some more data, like you say. You can drive up and down and look at different heights.
Well, I thought I could do that, but because there's only probably 2 or 3 sites that are actually going to work.
You may not be able to.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Fingers crossed.
Yes.
There'll be wonderful parking areas at the end of every zigzag where you can.
Well, it's not ziggy-zaggy.
Oh, okay.
The road basically climbs over about, well, in miles, 26 miles. It goes from sea level to 2,000 metres, and it wanders around a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
There's
okay.
none of this hairpin bend stuff. It's a highway, and the problem is when you come to a little peak, they put a cutting through it, so the road is down.
Yeah. Okay.
In the cutting where you can't point it at the horizon.
They've actually flattened it all out.
Yes.
Okay. Bugger. Yeah. Okay.
Very little consideration.
Yes. For us experimenters. Yes.
Yeah. So.
No. Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. Fantastic, Rex. We
Okay.
Look forward to the instalments as we get closer and closer, and the excitement building.
Right.
We're also looking forward to getting Hawaii in our log for 3 centimetres EME.
Definitely.
Best you get your system going.
Yes, there's an incentive.
Yeah.
Hey, there's definitely an incentive.
Because KH6 on 3 centimetres EME would be a bit rare.
Like never happened before, as far as I can find out.
No EME from Hawaii.
No.
No,
EME,
yeah.
but not 3 centimetres.
I think I think some of the boys, those guys went portable and did 432 and 1296.
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
But not 10.
Not 10
not,
gigs.
not 10. No.
Ooh, okay. Okay, you heard the challenge has been set.
Could be a bit of a big day here at Reast. There could be quite a few people lined up to.
Yeah. Against that, my priority will be the terrestrial.
Yes. Okay. I note the expectation management.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, cool. Thanks, Rex.
Okay.
Thank you very much. You can stick around because we're just about to go through. I was just going to quickly go through the other articles in this particular DUBUS
This
magazine.
looks pretty good, doesn't it? This synthesizer.
From 10 megs to 15 gigs. Now
Yeah.
that's actually what's that? 2 more gigs than the
ZLPLL one.
ZLPLL. The specifications on this are pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So sub-hertz steps across that range. SPI interface if you want to do some programming with it. Can be used as a sweep generator from 5 to 15 gigs. 2 differential outputs, which ZLPLL gives you.
So do not modulated stuff like CW? Or?
Well and truly.
Wow.
Typical input clock is 100 to 300 prime source. So this is if you want to actually lock it. Runs on 3.3 volts for the synthesizer and 5 volts for the post amplifiers, so 5 volts. But very, very impressive little book. There's all the details and circuit diagrams, etc. If I keep going, now we go into, this is a bilingual magazine, I'll just remind people. So it's in English and German. Now, modification of the IC705 for switch voltage at TX. So it actually puts out a voltage to enable...
So take it back to the old IC202 era.
Well and truly. Well and truly.
FT290 and...
So it actually gives you where you pick up the particular voltage, where you put the transistor, etc., etc. So it's in good detail. Now the antenna rotator called Kronos.
That looks really cool.
Very good. Yes. So and I do like the
oh beauty, another tracker to play.
Oh dear, another tracker. Yes, but I like the opening sentence on this. This is what jumped out at me, which is, the project was born after I first listened to the beacon station DL0 SHF on 10 gigs with a 65cm dish equipped with a telescope finder to be able to centre and follow the moon. Sound familiar?
Yeah.
See what you've done, Rex?
Yeah.
See what you've done?
So this is actually quite a comprehensive. It's got an Atmel processor. It's the board. It's the whole shebang, and a touch screen. So graphical user interface.
It'll do stepper motors too, which is really cool.
Correct. So here's the standalone system, all done up in a very nice little touch screen box. So that's the Kronos rotator, azimuth and elevation rotator. Now, and then we go into the German. Self-construction of parabolic dishes. Now, there's an awful lot of geometry gone into this. Yeah. And you'd need some fairly specialist metalworking.
I like the way they sort of casually go, you need to talk to a metal former who can accurately form the panels to the right shape.
Yeah. But it is the petal dish, so it's the frame, and then the petals go into the frame. There is full engineering diagrams for all of it, the 3 metre dish, the 3.6 metre dish, up to a 3.6 metre dish. So you could upgrade, tricky. Yeah. DATV on 5 microwave bands without transverters, and hints for contest QSOs. So this is an interesting article which uses a common platform to basically give you 3 centimeters, 6 centimeters, and 9. Hang on, where was it? There was somewhere in here. It listed all of them. 23, 9, 6, 3, and there must be another one in there. What's the other one?
5.
23, 9 and 6.
So 23 centimetres, 9 centimetres, 6 centimetres,
or
and
13,
3
there must be 13 centimetres.
And there must be 13 centimetres, well and truly in there.
Yeah.
So interesting article. All the components that you put together, all readily available hardware. Now, how to measure spillover of a parabolic antenna. Who is and Joachim Koppen, who is part of the DL0 SHF team. So this is a fairly technical article, but it enables you.
Might need to read that a couple of times.
No, but it's the theory of how you measure spillover on a parabolic dish, which is a fairly important parameter. There was lots of nods here in the studio for those who weren't in the studio.
We assume Mr. Mytek optimised it.
Correct. So, and then into the German. Now, there's another article in here. My poor DUBUS magazine got a crumpled corner as it came through the post, so the pages are stuck together. On the complete form of the refractive index equation, so tropospheric over-the-horizon propagation and its reasons can be easily analysed using the operational radiosonde data. Radiosonde?
You got it right.
It's in print, Rex. Not ionosonde, it's radiosonde. As they allow us to determine the vertical refractive index gradient, which is of central importance for DX propagation. So that's what this particular article is about. fairly heavy mathematical article. However, it does go into it in a huge amount of detail. So worth a read, and worth probably a couple of reads, including articles around that use the Hepburn charts to show you and then demonstrate how it's used. We've got our Rex and Richard and Roger article. Now, you've got your various country reports, which are in the back of the article. This is the European EME contest and the CW results. Tropo reports, all over the place, 70 centimetres, all the microwave bands. FAI News 2021 QSO summary. I'm trying to get to the... There is the reports. Okay. Oh, typo. February. Maybe there's a reason why that's...
Might be a German version.
Okay. Microwave Europe report. So this is what's going on the various bands. There's some 122 activity, 122 gig activity there. EME, and then there is the country report. So the various, the microwave North America report. Oh come on, this is my
stuff. Is that the one with the JARL that had the picture in? No.
Microwave Spain and Portugal with some pictures. Microwave Japan. And guess what? It's the Langstone project, which hold that thought, because that's what we're building right at the moment. And here's the Langstone idea coming out of Japan. 8, 6 and 4 metre news, news and commentary and comments, and I think that's about it. And the distributors. Actually, that's new. I don't think they had the distributors in there. So that's got Alan Devlin, who's our Australian distributor here, and that's it. And some very nice things to drool over on the inside and outside covers. So. So it is the 50th anniversary of DUBUS, and that's the first quarter of 2022. Well worth a look, and some great VK7 content. So now I was just going to finish, and you can stick around, Rex, if you would like to. I was just going to finish with because we don't actually have another ATV night. We don't actually have another ATV night until that's better. We can get all three of you. Look at that. We have a new contest in Australia, which is the ANZAC Day Contest. So this is a I think there was a bit of activity on VKCC. So the contest committee, VKCC contest committee, and they have come up with the ANZAC Day Contest. So there is a phone section. It is for the 24 hours of ANZAC Day, the UTC 24 hours of ANZAC Day. Phone section, CW section, and a mix section. Phone, CW, and digital. And there is a digital section, which is FT8 only.
Wow.
So this is a bit of a Trent Sampson, I think, had a bit to do with this somehow.
Moving up into
the aim, provide HF, so it's only HF, contacts in VK and ZL on the commemoration of ANZAC Day. So as many stations as you can, VK to ZL, non-VK and ZL, because there are some sections in here which I'm not sure that actually relate terribly much to us in Australia, because there's the single operator high power section, which is anything up to 1500 watts. Right. And I went, maybe that's not us.
It's probably not us.
But that's also, you could run 400 watts in that, and you would be in the single operator high power section. Single operator low power, which is up to 100 watts. Single operator QRP, which is up to 5 watts. It is the non-WARC HF bands, so 160, 80, 40, 20, 15 and 10, no WARC bands. There is a 6-hour subcategory in there, and a 24-hour, obviously. There's a multiple operator and single transmitter, and then there is a multiple operator and 2 transmitters. So there's some interesting variations in here. You do get multipliers for each country worked, so there is some incentive to go find countries. Contact points. Okay, 20 points for 160 metre contacts, 10 points for 80 metre, 5 points for 40, 1 point for 20, 2 points for 15, 3 points for 10. And note that the same station may only be counted once on each band for contact points. So a contact is counted once in a 24-hour period. So you're looking for as many different stations as you can. Anyway, and logs to be in by May the 1st.
I wonder if VKCL...
Well, they don't go into the logging programs in a lot of detail. So, but what I'll do in the video comments, I'll put the because it's a strange URL. It's cqcontest.info. So it's not the usual, like it's not a WIA contest. So yeah, I'll put that URL on the details of the video. So, but I just thought I'd let you know about that because it's this Monday.
Okay, it's
ANZAC Day. So yeah, you if you're wanting to participate in that particular contest, you need to get your act together.
You mean prepare? Goodness.
Oh yes, yeah. Sorry, correct. Ensure that your antennas and transmitters and receivers are all in good working order and suitably connected together. Now, just a quick reminder, WIA virtual conference, there is lots of material going out to WIA members right at the moment around how they can register for the AGM and Open Forum, which is happening right here behind us on Saturday, May the 7th. And then we all head down to IMAS down at Salamanca for the afternoon of presentations, of which Rex is giving one of them. As his and recollections and challenges of being a director for 10 years of the Antarctic Division, so I look forward to that. And there's a number of other presenters as well, so that's all down at IMAS. So next week I want to show you the new SDR console, which is for remote control of IC705s, 7610s and 9700s, and with an actual demonstration. So I'll point at, I'll let you have a bit of a drool over Hayden's video on Ham Radio DX, and
It's really quite cool.
it's very cool and really easy to use, and it just works. So really great job by the German guy who developed it. Really good job. So, and it's certainly the talk of the amateur world right at the moment, because I think people are starting to see that remote operation is actually can be a lot easier than it may be being made out to be. So yeah, good stuff. But that's next week. So I thank Richard and I thank Rex. Thank you very much. And look forward to hearing more about the trip to Hawaii, Rex. So it sounds all very exciting. So good. That's our program for tonight. This has been a presentation by VK7OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania, and our DATV Experimenters Night. And we'll bid you 73 and catch you next time.
73.